na meron tayong iba't ibang uri ng qualitative research. At the same time, we also have different kinds of quantitative research. And your topic, or you can choose a topic from any kind of qualitative and quantitative research for your research paper this semester. Yes, Francine, you raised your hand. Okay, so wala. So, ayan, at this point in time, since we already finished the discussion, meron kayong marireceive na module on Monday. It's about the kinds of quantitative research that we have previously discussed. So, medyo late lang may bibigay on Monday. And then, when you receive it on Monday, you can start answering it as soon as possible. Anyway, the discussion is already done. If you think the notes that you have taken in your notebook is not enough, a recorded video is actually uploaded on YouTube, so you can rewatch yung mga videos doon of the discussion para ma-refresh yung inyong mga utak on the ideas that you need in order to accomplish yung printed module that will be given on Monday. Okay? And at this point in time, I will be checking the topics that you have submitted in the old Google Classroom, and I will be giving you personal feedback on the on the feasibility of the topics that you have submitted. Kung workable ba siya or hindi, I will be giving you comments, and I will be giving you go signals on which topics are okay to start working with. In cases na more than one, yung topic na mabigyan ko ng go signal, then the choice is actually yours. You will be choosing kung ano doon sa multiple topics na na-approve ang gagawin mo as your research paper for this semester. Pero in case na isa lang yung ma-approve na topic, then automatic yun lang yung topic mo. Kung lahat ng topic na binigay mo doon ay hindi na-approve, then you have to submit a new list of topics. Now, hindi ko pa siya nasisimulang i-check, to be honest, but I will be checking it this week. So, yung mga medyo nagbago pa yung isip dyan at gusto ninyong palitan yung list ninyo, upon learning the different kinds of quantitative research, you realize na gusto mo pala itong topic na to, gusto mo yung ganitong uri ng quantitative research, you can still make changes to the initial topics that you have submitted. Okay, so tatandaan natin, this is the topic that you will be working on for the entire semester. And today, I will discuss kung paano ninyo sisimulang isulat yung chapter 1 of your research. So, I will allow you to make some changes doon sa inyong target list of possible topics kasi kung nagbago yung interest ninyo, okay lang. Mas mabuti na napalitan ninyo yung topics ninyo doon kesa naman ipilit ninyo yung mga luma at hindi na kayo interested doon. Baka maka-apekto yon in you writing the entire research paper for the second semester. Okay, so as much as possible, mas magandang gusto nyo yung ginagawa ninyong topic. Okay, so like I said for today, I will share with you some tips on how you can start writing a good research paper. So last time, what we learned is the elements of a good research topic. Kasi yun yung target ninyo, to come up with feasible topics, kumbaga yung kaya ninyong i-apply na topics in real life. And then you already chose your topic, so now you have to start writing your paper. So we will learn what are the different elements of a good research paper. Okay? So the first thing that you have to remember is that when you write a research paper, you have to be very specific about the content, yung nilalaman niya. Okay? And as much as possible, dapat yung content niya is very high quality. So when we say very high quality, ibig sabihin malinaw, very clear yung pagkaka-explain ninyo kung ano yung topic ninyo at ano yung gusto ninyong gawin, na pag binasa siya ng mga readers ninyo, even if hindi sila aware or about your topic, after reading your research paper, they can say that they are more aware about the phenomenon you want to talk about, or mas naintindihan nila yung topic na gusto mong ipakita or ipaalam sa kanila. Okay? So, very high dapat yung quality niya. So, dapat totoong or yung facts na gagamitin ninyo in writing your research paper should be true. Hindi siya pwedeng fake news lang or na balitaan nyo lang sa chismosa dyan sa kanto. So, how are you going to achieve good quality research paper na yung content ninyo ay masasabi ninyong maganda? So, of course, number one, you have to be knowledgeable about your topic. You have to learn more about your topic. As a researcher, ikaw dapat yung mas nakakaalam tungkol doon sa topic mo compared to other students in your class or compared to other people. So how are you going to achieve that kind of understanding or that kind of knowledge about your topic? So syempre, we have to read more about our topic. We have to go to different websites. We have to read different newspapers or articles from journals. We have to read different books and websites na mag-i-explain or can give you ideas about your topic. So usually, the first thing that you do when you are doing a research paper is you identify a topic which should be related to a problem or an issue that you see or observe within the community. Pag na-identify mo na yung topic mo na yon, then you have to start getting to know more information about that topic. And we achieve that by getting different kinds of resources. So meron tayong primary data at saka secondary data. So when we say primary data, ibig sabihin, ikaw mismo yung nag-gather ng information. You can ask or interview some of the people in the community na kakilala mo. If you think meron silang alam tungkol doon sa topic mo, so you can interview or you can give a simple survey to them para lang malaman mo kung ano yung alam nila tungkol sa topic mo. And kung ayaw mong gawin yon, you can also use secondary data. So yung secondary data, diyan papasok yung mga libro, diyan papasok yung mga newspapers, yung mga nakikita ninyo pag nag-Google kayo, yung mga sources na yon, lahat yon ay secondary data. So you have to find secondary sources, or you can even do primary sources to have a better understanding about your topic. So pagka nakakuha na kayo ng mga sources ninyo, ang kailangan ninyong gawin is, of course, to read those sources. And minsan, minsan dito tayo tinatamad dun sa pagbabasa ng mga sources ninyo. So, ngayon pa lang, grade 11, students, sana makasanayan na natin or baguhin na natin yung pangit na naging habit na pag sinabing research is dapat mag-google ka lang tapos ika-copy-paste mo yon sa isang paper, because that is not what a research is all about. Okay? So number one, you have to read your resources. So pag nakahanap ka na ng mga websites on Google, hindi mo siya pwedeng i-copy-paste. You have to read it and you have to understand it. Kasi when we write a research paper, later on, I will discuss more. Hindi pwedeng copy-pasted yung mga sources ninyo kasi kayo ay makakasuhan ng plagiarism. Okay? And I think nabanggit naman na ni Sir Edward sa kanyang class na academic writing what plagiarism is all about. Okay? So kailangan nating basahin yung mga sources na yon para tayo mismo mas nagiging in-depth or malalim or mas nagiging knowledgeable tayo tungkol doon sa iyong research topic. At kapag nakapagbasa ka na ng maraming sources about your topic, mas naiintindihan mo yung topic mo, mas kaya mo na siyang i-explain doon sa mga intended audience mo or intended readers of your research paper. Mahirap kasing magturo or kung ikaw mismo hindi mo naiintindihan or mababaw yung pagkakaintindi mo about doon sa topic na yon. So, kung hindi mo siya kayang i-explain ng malinaw at sa tingin mo kulang yung quality ng pagkaka-explain mo kasi kulang yung information, then please read different sources na makakapagpadagdag ng idea ninyo about your topic. Mahirap magsulat ng isang chapter 1, mahirap mag-introduce ng isang topic kung wala kang masyadong alam tungkol doon. So, very important yung reading. Pagka nabasa mo na siya, yung ibang tao, ako personally, nagha-highlight ako ng mga important ideas. Wait lang, double check ko. Okay. Okay, nakikita ba yung pinapakita ko sa screen? Okay, thank you. So, for example, ito yung isa sa mga recent papers na ginawa ko. And the topic here is about flu outbreaks. So, for example, yan, COVID. COVID is a kind of influenza virus. So, it's an outbreak. So, kung makikita nyo dyan, meron akong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 na sources. Na lahat yan ay reports coming from DOH, reports from other people who have conducted studies about this topic. Okay? And napakabago niya sa atin, learn more about it. So how do I learn more about it? Syempre, I have to read different sources that will give me information about flu, influenza in general, about COVID, kung bakit nga ba nagkakaroon ng maraming cases at nagkakaroon ng outbreaks. So iniisa-isa ko yung sources na yan, binabasa ko siya, ayan. Mahilig ako mag-highlight ng mga importanteng information that I think I will be able to use when I start writing my introduction about the topic. So yung mga naka-highlight na yan, ibig sabihin, yan yung mga sa tingin ko ay usable information or important information na kailangan kong ilagay sa aking paper. Okay? So hindi naman lahat ng information dyan sa paper na yan magagamit ko. So yun lamang mga information na sa tingin ko ay kaya kong or pwede kong gamitin. And then I do the same for the other, anong tawag dito? For the other sources na dinownload ko, pinakita ko kanina, I have 15. So ibig sabihin, kailangan kong basahin yung 15 na yon. So ayan. So lahat yung mga yan, yung sources na dinownload ko at sa tingin ko ay pwede kong gamitin, lahat yon ay binabasa ko. Yung important information, hina-highlight ko. Yung iba hindi sila nag-highlight pero they write something in a piece of paper, in a notebook, kung ano yung important information na naintindihan nila tungkol doon sa binasa nilang source. At sa tingin nila ay magagamit nila later on when they start writing their paper. Okay? So isa sa mga importanteng bagay in writing research is you have to read. Kaya nga yung unang subject ninyo kay Sir Edward is all about reading, and then after reading, saka kayo magsisimulang mag-writing. Kasi mahirap magsulat kung hindi natin binasa yung ating mga sources. Okay? So once you have identified important information that will help you explain the topic to your audience, the next thing that you're going to do is, of course, you are going to organize the ideas. Organize your content, organize your ideas, or organize the information. So pag lahat ng information na na-identify mo na important, pagsasama-samahin mo na sila in a way na maayos yung pagkakasunod-sunod nila. Kasi nga sabi natin, di ba, dapat very clear na maiintindihan ng mga readers mo kung tungkol saan yung topic mo. So hindi naman pwedeng pagsama-samahin mo lang yung information na yon. Dapat meron silang pagkakasunod-sunod. Very cohesive yung kanilang pagkakasunod-sunod. So i-imagine mo, okay, sisimulan ko yung aking introduction using a news article about the number of positive COVID cases in the Philippines for this week. Tapos after kong sabihin na marami or parang continuously increasing yung trend ng COVID cases, saka ako magdi-describe ano nga ba yung COVID. So i-describe ko anong itsura ng virus na yon, ano yung nararamdaman ng mga taong nakakuha ng virus na yon, ano yung pwedeng gawin ng mga healthcare workers para ma-prevent or ma-cure itong virus na to. So kumbaga meron siyang chronological order or pagkakasunod-sunod. So one of the things that you learned from Sir Edward in your reading and writing class is that we can organize ideas by using what we call as graphic organizers. So meron kayong mga Venn diagram, meron kayong mga flow chart, meron kayong fishbone diagram or yung mga table diagram which will help you organize or visualize, makita mo sa utak mo, ito yung direction ng paper ko, ganito yung uunahin ko, ito yung susunod kong i-discuss. Okay? Para ma-ensure mo na maganda yung content ng inyong paper. Okay? So I will now move to the next slide. Paki-inform ako kung hindi gumalaw yung aking presentation. Taas ng kamay kung okay naman. Okay, thank you. So the second thing that you have to consider when writing your paper, of course, is you have to check the grammar and you have to be careful about punctuations. Okay? Ang napapansin ko about senior high school, most of them, ang nagiging problema is about the use of punctuations at saka yung capitalization. Na even yung beginning of the sentence, hindi na siya nakakapitalize. Lahat ng mga pronouns such as I, hindi na siya nakakapitalize. Yung mga proper pronouns such as name of people, name of agencies, places, events, hindi na rin nakakapitalize. Kasi masyado ata kayong nasasanay na in your phone, when you are communicating with people, hindi na kayo gumagamit ng tamang capitalization, hindi na rin kayo gumagamit ng period and other punctuations, hindi nyo na rin chine-check yung spelling ng words ninyo, hindi na kayo complete word pag nagta-type, tapos syempre, dulo is yung grammar. So, hindi po pwede sa research na magpapasa kayo ng isang paper na mali-mali yung spelling, maraming errors when it comes to punctuations, hindi nakakapitalize yung mga beginning of sentences ninyo. You have to be careful about this. Before I continue, Roxanne, you raised your hand. Do you have a question? Roxanne Bivet, do you have a question? Okay, so I think hindi lang niya nababa. Let's continue. So let's discuss some things or some of the important things that you can take note when you are writing your research paper. So ayan, the first one is of course to use commas and period. Okay? How do you know if you need to use commas in periods? Sabi niya dito, try to read your sentences out loud. And if you can read your sentences sa isang hingahan in just one breath, hindi ka naubusan ng hininga, ibig sabihin, okay lang yung length ng sentence mo. Then, you just need to end that sentence in a period, with a period. Pero kung sobrang haba na siya, na pag binasa mo ay naubos na yung hininga mo, hindi mo patapos basahin yung sentence mo, ibig sabihin, sobrang haba niya. And kapag sobrang haba ng sentence mo, you have to consider baka naman isa siyang complex sentence na kailangan mong gamitan ng comma, or baka naman kailangan mong paghiwalayin yung ideas into several sentences. So, hindi po okay in a good research paper na meron kayong tinatawag na long sentences. As much as possible in research, very direct to the point. Yung information, yung content nandoon, yung nilalaman niya, pero ayaw ng research ng paligoy-ligoy or paikot-ikot yung explanation mo. Dapat direct to the point. You do not beat around the bush na paikot-ikutin mo pa yung explanation para lang humaba yung sentence mo. It's not actually a good element of a research. So avoid long sentences. Pero hindi ko sinasabi sa inyo na okay lang na wala naman ng nilalaman yung paper ninyo. Sabi, wag daw mahaba. So dapat maiksi lang, straight to the point. Pero wala naman palang content. So magkaiba yung merong nilalaman, may content siya, meron akong matututunan pag binasa ko yung paper mo. At straight to the point. Iba din yung maiksi nga siya, pero dahil wala naman akong natutunan sa sobrang iksi niya. Okay? So, kapag hindi kayo nagbasa ng sources ninyo, yun at yun ang mangyayari. Baka hindi ninyo ma-explain ng maayos yung inyong topic, hindi maintindihan ng reader ninyo. So, pagdating ng presentation ninyo, yun at yun lang din yung tatanungin sa inyo. Tungkol saan yung research mo, ano yung topic mo. Pag tinanong kayo ng inyong magiging panel later on, ng ganong question, ibig sabihin, hindi nila naintindihan based on your introduction kung tungkol saan yung topic mo. Okay? So, para maiwasan natin yung mga ganong tanong, make sure na ma-i-explain ninyo ng malinaw sa readers ninyo kung ano yung topic mo. Okay? So, the next one is to avoid repetitive words. So, ayaw ng research yung paulit-ulit, yun ang ginagamit mong mga salita. Okay? So, in order to avoid repetitive words, usually, gumagamit sila ng abbreviations or gumagamit ng acronyms. Acronyms or abbreviations. Pag acronyms, ang example niyan is, for example, ang topic ko dun sa pinakita ko sa inyo kanina is all about flu outbreaks. So, sino ba yung mga tao na laging involved when it comes to flu outbreaks? So, syempre, ang mga common doon is yung mga frontliners ninyo, or for some people, they call them the healthcare workers. So, yung healthcare workers kasi, dalawang word siya. Tapos, paulit-ulit siya gagamitin doon sa aking paper. So, meron siyang tinatawag na acronym. So, kailangan ko siyang paiksiin. So, ang acronym niya is HCW. So, H is for health, C is for care, W is for workers. So, at the beginning or the first time na gagamitin ko yung word na healthcare workers, kailangan ko siyang naka-spell out or naka-define na healthcare worker. Pero after that, the rest of the paper, ang gagamitin ko na lang ay HCW para mas umikse yung tinatawag nating ang tawag dito, yung word. Hindi na siya paulit-ulit na healthcare workers, healthcare workers. mas iiksi na siya kasi ang ginamit ko ay acronyms. And then of course, we have several agencies. Ito sa ulo nyo naman na itong mga to, such as DOH, WHO, World Health Organization. So pwede ko rin gamitin yung mga acronyms na yan. Pero like I said before, the first time that I will be using DOH, kailangan kong ipakita na Department of Health or DOH. And then the rest of the paper, DOH na lang yung gagamitin ko. The same with World Health Organization. First time, kailangan ko siyang i-spell out. Kailangan kong i-define ano yung WHO. And then the rest of the paper, I will be using WHO na lang. Okay? And then of course, we have what we call as abbreviations. So yung abbreviations, ito rin yung mga shortened words na ginagamit nila instead of the longer word na formally ginagamit doon. So for example, premature babies. Yung premature babies, ito yung mga ipinanganak ng kulang sa buwan. So medyo mahaba yung salitang premature babies. So merong world accepted na abbreviation sa premature babies, and they call it yung preemies. So preemies are premature babies. So instead of using two words, mas pinaiksi siya or abbreviated siya doon sa idea ng preemies. Pero similar to your acronyms, the first time, so dapat naka-spell out yon. So sabi nga niya dito, the first time it was mentioned, kailangan naka-spell out yon na premature babies. And then, comma, preemies. Kailangan ko siyang gawing ganon. And then, the rest of the paper, okay lang na yung preemies na lang ang gagamitin ko or yung abbreviated version na lang ng original na word para hindi maging repetitive at hindi maging mahaba yung explanation or introduction in your paper. Okay? And then for the use of pronouns, we can use active voice in research papers, pero you have to avoid using the word I. Okay? So, okay lang ang active voice, pero instead of I, we can use we if you are a group of researchers. For example, 2 kayo or 3 kayo. We came up with this topic because of the following reasons. Or we chose this topic because we observed that. So always we. At kung ikaw naman ay mag-work individually, then instead of using I, you can use the word the researcher. So the researcher chose this topic because it was observed that blah, blah, blah. Okay? And then number 5, you have to be consistent with your format. And later on, I will be giving out the format for your research paper. And you have to follow this format. So when we say format, ibig sabihin yan, iisa yung font size, iisa yung font na gagamitin ninyo. Kung in the beginning of your sentence, or the beginning of the chapter, you start ng naka-all caps, yung title ng chapter 1 ninyo at naka-italize yan, hanggang sa dulo ng paper, dapat mafa-follow mo yung same format. So, kailangan consistent. Pare-pareho sila from the beginning of the paper until the very end of the paper. Hindi pwedeng pagdating sa dulo, maliit na yung font mo. Pagdating sa gitna, medyo mas malaki. Okay, so these are some of the things that you can check kung okay na siya, malinis na ba yung paper mo. May mga words pa ba na mali ang spelling? Medyo madali nang mag-check ng spelling ngayon kasi even yung Word at saka yung Google Documents, pag gumawa kayo, sila mismo sinasabi nila sa iyo, mali yung spelling nito. Tapos ipapakita na nila sa iyo yung tamang spelling. So medyo mas madali nang mag-check ng spelling. Even yung grammatical errors, di ba pagka nag-type ka sa Microsoft Word at naka-underline yung inyong sentence, ibig sabihin may kailangang ayusin or merong mali doon sa inyong grammar. So, wag lang po kayong tatamarin to double check your paper. At syempre, hindi mag-work yung last minute before submission, saka nyo lang siya gagawin. Kasi pag last minute nyo siya ginawa, ibig sabihin nun, wala na kayong enough time to double check your paper or to proofread your paper. When we say proofread kasi, ito yung chine-check mo kung maganda na yung format, kung may mga mali ng spelling, kung merong mga words na hindi na-capitalize, baka may mga words na hindi nagkaroon ng spaces in between. So yan yung tinatawag nating proofreading. At magagawa mo lang yung proofreading na yan if you still have enough time. Pero kung ginawa mo yung paper mo the night before the submission, then you don't have enough time to proofread your work. Chances are, pag sinubmit mo siya, magulo yung ideas, marami pang mga kailangang i-correct na errors sa grammar at saka sa punctuation, saka sa spelling. So, hindi siya maganda. Pangit yung magiging score mo kasi merong category doon sa scoring rubric na ang chine-check niya is kung malinis yung paper mo. At the same time, ibabalik ko lang sa inyo yung paper nyo at sasabihin ko lang sa inyo, proofread your paper. So kahit na makapag-submit ka, hindi mo naiwasan or hindi mo matatakasan yung responsibility of proofreading your paper. I will just return your paper sa'yo at ikaw pa rin ang gagawa ng proofreading. So wag nyo nang iwasan or takasan yung pagpo-proofread ng paper ninyo. So, kasi babalik at babalik lang din sa inyo. So, matatambakan lang kayo ng kailangang gawin. Bumaba pa yung score mo. So, make sure na you have enough time to read and write your research paper para meron pa kayong time to proofread and to double check before you submit your final paper for submission. Okay, and later on, I will give you some tips on how you can proofread your paper. So I will go to the next slide. Nakikita po ba ang aking slide? Nag-move ba siya or hindi? Thank you. Okay. So, of course, gagamit tayo ng sources, ng secondary sources in writing your research paper. And wala namang masama in using secondary sources kasi we are not experts about this topic. Interesado ka doon sa topic na yon, pero hindi ibig sabihin nun, alam mo na lahat tungkol doon sa topic na yon. So, kailangan nating magbasa at gumamit ng ideas ng ibang tao. Okay? So, walang masama if we're going to use the ideas of other people. Pero, when we use ideas from other people, kailangan we follow proper referencing. And this is a topic in your subject academic writing. I already talked to Sir Edward, I coordinated with him, and alam niya kung ano yung kailangan ko na ituro sa inyo or kailangan niyang maituro sa inyo kasi gagamitin niyo siya when it comes to writing your research paper. So ano nga ba ang importance ng proper referencing? So proper referencing allows us to do academic honesty and avoid what we call as plagiarism. So when we talk about academic honesty, ang ibig sabihin nito is that hindi ka nagnanakaw ng ideas ng ibang tao. You are using their ideas, pero sinasabi mo na yung idea na yon ay hindi sa'yo. Okay? You are being honest na gumamit ka ng ideas ng ibang tao. So pag ikaw ay gumamit ng proper referencing, ibig sabihin, you are giving the credit to the owners of the idea. So kung yung idea na yon ay nakuha mo sa ganitong tao, sabihin mo, using your references, na yung idea na to ay galing sa kanya. So hindi ko siya idea. Okay? So sabi nga niyang ganon, ang common explanation or pinakamadaling explanation when it comes to academic honesty and plagiarism is this. For example, nag-e-exam kayo sa klase, face-to-face. Okay? Tapos, meron kang hindi masagutan na isang tanong. For example, si Berhel. Si Berhel, hindi niya alam kung ano yung isasagot sa question number 2. So, sabi ni Berhel, Mark, pakopya naman ako ng sagot mo sa number 2. Sabi ni Mark, sige pre, kopyahin mo na yung sagot ko, okay lang yan. So, ang tanong ko sa inyo, pinayagan ni Mark si Berhel na mangopya. Tama ba yon or mali? Is that considered as cheating or hindi? Tanong natin si Daniela. Sige, nagtaas ng kamay. Tama ba yon? Kasi pinayagan naman siya ni Mark eh. Okay ba yon?
Hindi po.
Bakit?
Kasi ma'am, yung quiz po, ang mini-measure niya po ay kung ano yung natutunan mo. Hindi po yung natutunan ng kaklasmate mo. Kaya dapat po, kung ano lang yung natutunan mo, yun lang po yung isasagot niya sa quiz.
Okay, thank you, Daniela. Pumayag naman si Mark eh. Sabi niya, sige, kopyahin mo lang yan. So, ginawa ni Berhel, kinopya niya yung sagot ni Mark. Tama ba yon? Any other idea? Tanong natin si Kathleen. What can you say about that? Basta may consent, okay na? Kathleen Joy. Sige, si Leia. Leia, anong masasabi mo?
Sir, si Myla daw po.
Okay, si Myla, what can you say?
Sure, hindi po yun consider as cheating, sir, kasi po may pahintulot po, although mali siya kaso may pahintulot naman na may-ari, nakopyahin yung gawa niya. Yun lang.
Okay, thank you very much. So sabi ni Myla, basta may pahintulot. Okay? So nagpaalam naman si Berhel, sabi niya, pakopya ako sa number 2. Sabi ni Mark, sige go, kopyahin mo. So okay na daw. Mukhang may gustong idagdag si Daniela. Yes, Daniela.
Sir, mali po yun. Ay, ma'am, mali kayo. Kasi idea po yun ni Mark. Pero kung isusulat yun ni Berhel sa quiz number, ay sa number 2 po, sasabihin niya po na idea niya yun. Kaya plagiarism pa rin po yun at hindi po siya nagiging honest kapag ganun po.
Okay, thank you, Myla and Daniela. Any other answer? Let's ask Mark. Mark Luis, ano sa tingin mo? Binigyan mo naman ng permission si Berhel? Is that still cheating and plagiarism or okay lang basta may permission naman? Mark Luis. Ay, hindi ata nakikinig si Mark Luis
Hindi ko po alam isasagot.
Ano sa tingin mo? Plagiarism or hindi? Pinayagan mo naman si Berhel. Is that acceptable or not? Mark.
Acceptable po, ma'am.
Acceptable dahil?
Kasi po, pinayagan ko naman.
Kasi pinayagan mo naman. Any other? Si Leia nagtataas ng kamay. May gustong idagdag?
Ma'am, kahit na consider siyang plagiarism tsaka cheating, ma'am, kung yung may-ari naman mismo yung nagpakopya, na siya mismo, kasalanan po ng may-ari yun.
Okay, kasalanan na rin somehow nung may-ari kasi pinayagan niya. Okay, so thank you for those ideas, Daniela and Leia and Myla, tsaka sa napilitang si Mark. So when it comes to plagiarism, so yung point ni Daniela kanina is this. Idea yon ni Mark. Understanding ni Mark yon tungkol doon sa quiz, doon sa lesson. Pag kinopya ni Berhel yon, pinapalabas ni Berhel na idea niya yung kinopya niya kay Mark. So it is still considered as plagiarism. Okay? So number 1, for you to avoid plagiarism, you are not allowed to copy-paste yung sagot or yung sources ninyo. So kung ito si Berhel, kinopya niya word per word yung sagot ni Mark Luis, that is automatic as plagiarism. Ganon din kayo. Nag-Google kayo tungkol sa topic ninyo, kinontrol A nyo, control C, control V, that is automatically plagiarism. Kasi kinopy mo word per word yung sinabi ng source mo. So how do you prevent that? Number one, and I think ito yung topic ni Sir Edward sa academic writing this week or last week. The first thing that you have to do is to paraphrase. So when we say paraphrase, ibig sabihin, you are saying the ideas in your own words. Kung paano mo naintindihan yung binasa mo, ganun mo siya isusulat. Kaya nga, very important na kayo ay magbasa. Kasi pag hindi kayo nagbasa, wala kayong ipaparaphrase. Kasi wala kayong sasabihin in your own words. So itong si Berhel, ang gagawin niya, babasahin niya yung sagot ni Mark doon sa number 2. Tapos, sasabihin niya yung pagkakaintindi niya doon sa sagot ni Mark. So that is paraphrasing. And pag nagawa na niya yun, is it enough to say na hindi siya nag-commit ng plagiarism? No. Kasi wala kang proper referencing. So when we say proper referencing, you have to give the credit doon sa taong nagbigay sa'yo ng idea. So si Berhel, para hindi masabing plagiarism yung ginawa niya, ang sagot niya sa number 2 dapat is, according to Mark Lewis, the answer to this question is blah, 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 blah. So sasabihin niya based on paano niya naintindihan yung sagot ni Mark Lewis. At the same time, kailangan niyang pangalanan si Mark Lewis bilang source niya. So kung ayaw mong mag-commit ng plagiarism, kailangan mong sabihin ano yung pangalan at kung sino yung author na nagbigay sa'yo ng idea or sino yung author nung idea na ginamit mo. Okay? So dalawa yon kailangan mong masatisfy in order to prevent plagiarism. The first one is you have to say it using your own words. Hindi pwedeng copy-pasted. And number 2, you have to disclose at kailangan mong sabihin yung pangalan nung nagsabi sa'yo ng idea na yon or yung pangalan nung tao kung saan mo kinuha yung idea na yon. So that is what we mean by proper referencing. Okay? And itong plagiarism na to ay napaka-serious offense. It's a very serious academic offense. Meron kaming grade 12 dati na matalino siya. Actually, may honor siya. Nasa top siya kasi mataas talaga yung grade niya. Pero hindi siya naka-receive ng award kasi yung kanyang research na isinabmit ay plagiarized. So nakita ng panel niya na yung kanyang isinabmit na paper ay copy-pasted at hindi niya sinabi kung sino yung author na sinabi niya kung sino yung author na yon, pero hindi siya nag-paraphrase. Kinopy-paste niya yung procedure as is. Kinopya niya yung procedure. Wala siyang binago doon sa procedure. Hindi niya sinabi using her own words, pero sinulat niya kung saan niya nakuha yung idea. So incomplete. So she committed plagiarism. So hindi siya nakakuha ng award. Okay? At muntik pa siyang hindi makagraduate. Okay? So very serious offense yan. Another school in Olongapo, yung professor niya mahilig magpasubmit ng paper. Akala niya mataas yung grade niya. Pagdating nung kanyang report card, siya ay bagsak. So galit na galit siya, pumunta siya sa professor niya, bakit daw siya bagsak? So sabi ng prof niya, you submitted to me plagiarized work. So wala kang score na nakuha doon sa lahat ng task na yon, kaya you receive a failing mark. And too late na niya nalaman na yung ginawa niyang mga plagiarized work ang magiging dahilan kung bakit siya bumagsak. So no choice siya, kailangan niyang ulitin yung subject. So plagiarism is a very serious academic offense. In some schools, it is a reason for them to kick you out of the school. For some schools, it is a reason to fail you. For some schools, it is a reason to remove yung mga academic awards na dapat nasa iyo. So please po, you have to be aware that this is an offense. And it is included in the handbook, the student handbook of the school, Smart Achievers, that we are implementing academic honesty. Kasama dyan sa idea ng academic honesty yung bawal yung pangungopya at bawal ang plagiarized work. So, wag po kayong magka-copy-paste. And at the same time, I want to share this with you. Later on, makikita nyo naman siya. Wait lang. When you go to Google Classroom, so sana kayo ay mga nakapag ng invitation. Pero when you go to Google Classroom, meron dyan na isang task. Ito na yung gagawin nyo this week hanggang next week, February 28 ang kanyang due date. You will start writing the first chapter of your paper. And pero meron din if it is plagiarized or not. Google Classroom will tell me kung sino yung Google Classroom pa lang, chine-check niya na kung plagiarized yung work ninyo or hindi. When it comes to plagiarism. So let's continue. Okay pa ba tayo? Pataas ng kamay, mga kung nakikinig pa or hindi. Hindi na. Okay. So let's continue with the next slide. Again, pa-inform na lang ulit ako kung nakikita ninyo yung aking slide at kung kayo ay, ang tawag dito, nakita nyo nag-move ang aking slide. Ayan. Thank you. So, ano nga ba yung referencing styles? Meron tayong tatlong uri ng referencing styles. We have APA, MLA, and Chicago or the Turabian style. Lahat po ito ay ituturo sa academic writing ni Sir Edward. So, hindi ko na siya ituturo. I will just after no for your paper, we are going to use the APA or the American Psychological Association referencing style. APA is the most common referencing style used, especially in the Philippines. Halos lahat ng schools ang ginagamit na referencing style ay APA. Even when I was in the university, I used APA in my thesis paper. And until now, most of the papers that I'm doing is using APA. Meron lang mangilan-ngilan na nagre-request ng MLA. So APA is used for education, psychology, and the different sciences. So lahat ng research paper under these departments or under these areas, commonly ang gamit niya ay APA. So, hindi ko na ituturo yung Chicago and MLA kasi tulad nga ng sabi ko, ituturo naman siya ni Sir Edward. APA looks like this for the referencing style, pero si Sir Edward na lang ang magtuturo sa inyo. Okay? So, ito ay isang advice lang. Anong tawag dito? Kasi we are using online education naman ngayon. And I think even yung submission natin, submission natin ay online. So I would really encourage you, kung mas magiging madali para sa inyo, you can use different software or applications na for free if it will make your life easier. So isa dito sa mga applications na to that I personally use is itong EasyBib. So pakita ko sa inyo itong EasyBib. Punta lang kayo sa Google and then type nyo yung EasyBib. Ito yung lalabas or ang itsura ng website niya. So this website is for free. Pero meron din silang parang professional or pro accounts. Okay, so medyo limited yung functionality ng mga for free, pero for me, it works naman na. So pwede kayong gumawa ng citations using APA, referencing style. Ang magta-type na sa inyo is itong EasyBib na to. At pwede rin niyang i-check yung paper ninyo for plagiarism and grammar errors. So for proofreading, pwede mo na rin gamitin itong website na to. For me, personally, ginagamit ko siya in creating citations. So pag nag-create ako ng citation, ito yung usual na ginagamit ko. So for example, I want to cite a website that I used or a reference that I used. Iso-search niya yon. Tapos, for example, ito yung source na ginamit ko. Lalabas yan dyan sa results niya. And then I will cite it. Pagka nagpunta na siya doon, sasabihin niya kung ano yung information na meron siya. So meron na siyang article title, may URL na siya, may website title, may date, published na siya. Ang kailangan na lang niya ng tulong ay yung pangalan ng mga authors. Okay? So kung mapapansin nyo, kompleto na siya. May article title, nandyan na lahat ng authors, nandyan na yung year, nandyan na yung name of the publication. So siya na ang gagawa ng mismong citation para sa inyo. Ika-copy-paste nyo na lang siya. So, mas madali para sa akin. So, ito yung mga sources na ginamit ko na dati. Okay, so pwede mo siyang i-copy-paste isa-isa. Pwede rin namang i-copy all. Ang maganda sa EasyBib kasi is naka-alphabetize na siya. So, kung makikita nyo, nauuna yung letter D, bago E, tapos F, K, S. So, siya na yung nag-a-arrange para sa inyo. So, kapag na-kompleto mo na lahat ng sources mo dito, copy all, tapos yun na yung ilalagay mo sa paper mo dun sa bibliography part. So, mas nagiging, para sa akin mas madali on my part if I am using EasyBib kesa mano-mano kung gagawin yung referencing. So, may mga iba pang software and applications na katulad ng EasyBib. If you know of a software or an application na makakatulong sa inyo, you can share it to your classmates. You can use it to accomplish your task. Wala namang problema. Okay? As long as pag sinubmit nyo siya sa akin, nandoon yung content at maayos yung pagkakagawa. Walang masyadong spelling na kailangang i-correct, naiintindihan siya, malinaw yung pagkaka-explain ninyo, hindi siya plagiarized. Okay? So, ito na yung gagawin ninyo. Iiwan ko na itong gagawin sa inyo. Nandoon na siya sa Google Classroom. Nakasulat na siya na to be submitted on February 28. So, you have around 10 days or almost 2 weeks to finish the first part or chapter 1 about your topic. So magbibigay na ako ng comments sa inyo. Pag nakapag-decide na kayo about your topic, then you can start reading about it and you can start writing about it. Ang gusto kong makita na isubmit ninyo ay itong 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Yung 4, 5, and 6, sa susunod pa yung deadline niya. So the first part is the background of the study. In this one, you are going to introduce tungkol saan yung topic mo. So, automatic, I want to see sources dito pa lang sa background of the study mo. Saan mo, ano yung mga binasa mong sources to give you an idea para ma-introduce mo or maipaliwanag mo sa mga readers mo tungkol saan yung topic mo. Okay? So yun yung kailangan ninyong ma-achieve na goal sa number 1. Kailangan mong ma-introduce para ka nakipag-usap sa ibang tao, i-introduce mo kung ano yung topic mo, tungkol saan siya, at bakit ano yung mga bagay na napag-uusapan tungkol doon sa topic na yon. So you need to read your sources, you need to do your references, you need to paraphrase your sources para makapaggawa ka ng maganda at malinaw na introduction about your topic. And then number 2, the rationale, we'll talk about the reason bakit yon ang pinili mong topic. Okay? Interesting siya sa'yo dahil, Chris lang, because, diba? Bakit yun ang pinili mo? Bakit siya interesting sa'yo? Bakit sa lahat ng mga issues in the community, yun yung gusto mo? Okay? So sa number 2, wala naman ng kailangang mga sources dyan. Pero I really need to see a good explanation of the reasons kung bakit yun ang topic na pinili mo. Okay? Napaka-importante ng number 2 kasi nakikita ng panel or ng reader mo dito sa number 2 yung sa sarili mo mismo, if you know na importante yung topic, lumalabas siya dito sa explanation mo sa rationale. Na pag very passionate ka at very involved ka kasi personally sa sarili mo alam mong importante itong topic na to. Nakikita iyan dito sa rationale of the study. So kapag nakita ng panel mo na kumbaga wala kang pakialam sa topic mo, nakukulangan sila dito sa number 2. Yan yung nagiging comment palagi. Okay? So sabi ko nga sa inyo, as much as possible, you have to choose a topic that is personally interesting or personally motivated kang gawin. Okay? So kailangan ma-explain mo ng malinaw sa mga readers mo bakit yun ang pinili mong topic. Before I continue, may tanong si Francine, ayan po ba yung ipapasa sa end of semester? No po. This is just chapter 1. A research paper has 5 chapters. We are just talking about chapter 1. Pero inuunti-unti ko lang kayo. Pagdating ng first week ng March, kailangan ma-submit na yung 4, 5, and 6 para makapag-continue na doon sa other chapters of the paper. So the title of the chapter is Chapter 1, The Problem and Its Background. So ibig sabihin, ipinapakilala mo pa lang kung ano yung topic mo. Hindi mo pa sinasabi kung ano yung plano mo. So wag nyo pong iisipin na itong 6 lang na to ang gagawin nyo hanggang April. Hindi po, chapter 1 pa lang siya. So meron pang 4 na chapters na natitira. Okay? And then for your research questions, if you are going to do a qualitative research, then I want to see your research questions. Ibig sabihin ng research questions, ano ba yung mga katanungan mo na gusto mong masagot by conducting this research? Kung ang katanungan mo is it possible or is it an effective way to use segregation to prevent flooding in Kalapakuan? That is your research question. So gusto mong i-check kung effective ba siya or hindi. So yung iyong research question should be here. Makikita sa research question ano yung objective mo or yung target goal mo para sa topic mo. So kung ang gusto mo ay makahanap ng solusyon, then dapat dyan sa research question na yan, makikita na ang gusto mong malaman is ano yung mga posibleng solusyon dito sa problema na ito. Or kung ito yung problema, ano yung mga dahilan na nagdudulot nitong problema na to. So kung ang topic natin ay yung usual na sinasabi, ito kasi ay binigay last nung sa nakaraang klase. Ang topic ay teenage pregnancy. Tumataas yung number or cases of teenage pregnant women in the Philippines. Ano yung mga dahilan? Bakit dumadami yung taong nabubuntis ng bata or maaga pa buntis na? Ano yung mga dahilan? So kung ang gusto mo lang malaman ay may epekto ba itong pagtatrabaho niya sa kanyang pag-aaral, then that should be your research question. What is the effect, or in what way does working part-time influence the academic performance of high school students? Nakakabuti ba siya? Wala ba siyang epekto? Or nakakasama siya? So that is your research questions. If kayo po ay gagawa ng quantitative research, then I want your hypothesis. Yung hypothesis ay yung sa tingin mong mangyayari doon sa iyong research paper. So kung sa tingin mo mas mababa ang academic performance ng mga part-time workers, then you say that I hypothesize, the researcher hypothesized that part-time students or students who are working part-time have a lower academic performance compared to other students. Or I hypothesize that there is a negative influence yung working sa kanyang academic performance. So I will give you an example on Google Classroom, a sample paper para habang gumagawa kayo kung kailangan ninyong tumingin ng isang example, nandoon siya sa Google Classroom. So again, on February 28, yung 1, 2, and 3, kailangan na ninyong mai-submit. Okay? Bakit siya February 28? Kasi po, syempre, I will be giving feedbacks pa lang when it comes to your topic. So, kailangan ko magbigay ng time sa sarili ko para ma-check yung mga proposed topics ninyo para makapag-come up tayo ng workable topic for your research. Okay? So, yung inyong chapter 1, parts 1, 2, 3 will be submitted here. Okay? Sa Google Classroom. Ibinigay ko yung format dito. Please po, paki-follow. Okay? At walang magsasubmit sa akin ng hindi maayos na check na paper na maraming capitalization errors at maraming spelling errors kasi kaya nyong gawin yon. Yung grammatical errors, ina-accept ko pa. Pero yung sa spelling, hindi ko na ina-accept yon kasi chine-check na ng Google sa inyo, chine-check niya ng Word sa inyo, ba't hindi nyo pa makorek? Tsaka yung capitalization, hindi ako nag-accept ng capitalization errors. Matuto po kayong mag-capitalize ng mga proper nouns, ng mga pronouns, at saka ng beginning of your sentences. Itinuro yan ng elementary, kinalimutan nyo lang dahil sa cellphone ninyo. So, kailangan nyo ulit siyang balikan ngayon. Okay? So, ang aking format is portrait, ibig sabihin nakatayo, short bond paper. So, pag gumawa kayo ng Google document, automatic naman yan siya ay naka-letter size, 8.5 by 11 inches. Ang font natin ay Georgia. Wala pong gagamit ng ibang font size, font. Ayoko ng mga cursive na fonts na gagamitin ninyo. I want everyone to use Georgia. Ang size niya ay 12. Walang mas malaki, walang mas maliit. And then ang spacing niya ay 1.5. Okay? And then the first page of your paper should have your target title for your topic and your name if you are working individually sa research ninyo, and the names of all the group members kapag kayo ay working in a group. Okay? Na-discuss ko naman na previously in class that you can choose to work individually. And kung ayaw mo mag-individual, you can work as a group. Pero ang maximum number of group members ay 3. Walang 4. So kung gusto nyong dalawa lang kayo, partner lang kayo, okay lang. Kung gusto mong mag-solo, okay lang din. Kung gusto mong tatlo kayo na grupo, okay lang din. Basta ang kagrupo ninyo should be within your strand. Malinaw yun ha? Ang kagrupo mo, kung ikaw ay Humes lang din. Hindi ka pwedeng kumuha ng kagrupo sa ABM, hindi ka pwedeng kumuha ng grupo sa STEM, at hindi ka pwedeng kumuha ng grupo sa GAS. Kasi dapat, or as much as possible, yung topic ninyo ay related doon sa inyong strand. So kung ikaw ay humanities, ang target mo ay education, as much as possible, yung topic mo ay mga issues or problems na nakikita within the education. Application siya dapat sa strand mo. Okay? Kaya hindi kayo pwedeng magsama-sama kung kayo ay magkakaibang strand. Malinaw yun ha? You can form groups, but you have to be part of the same strand. Okay? So kung gusto mo mag-solo, kung gusto mo mag-partner, kung gusto mo by group, wala namang problema. You choose who will be your group